tonight?
So we're going through the baby steps, obviously, as you guys know. So Dave did baby steps 1 and 2, and I will do 3, 4, and 5, and then he will close out the event. So it'll be fun. It's gonna be a fun night, and the crowd here is awesome.
Oh, look at this crowd!
Yeah, I know.
Look at
it's
it.
just
I mean,
so
they're
fun.
all over the place.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. All right, so I want to get an update on the Rachel Cruze Show. It went so very well. You kind of put out several episodes. For those people who are tuning in tonight, maybe they haven't seen the Rachel Cruze Show. How would you describe it to somebody, and why should they watch it?
Sure. So I have a YouTube channel where I've done video blogs twice a week for probably like 5 years now. And a lot of people have been asking for longer forms of content. And so we thought, okay, well, it would be kind of fun to create this show that's not just these quick vlogs, but we really can go in depth on different subjects. So it's a whole 30-minute show that we created. We did 4 test episodes, if you will, before I went out on maternity leave. So I'm 9 months pregnant in half the videos, which is awesome. I look back, I'm like, oh man, of course we had to film that,
Right.
No, but yeah, so we're gonna be shooting some more. So we kind of got the green light to do more. So yeah, so basically, yeah, all the episodes are focused on one subject when it comes to life and money. And we dive into everything from lifestyle, how to decorate a room, how to cook a meal, to talking to your spouse about budgeting. I mean, we cover all these topics. So it's pretty fun. Because let's be honest, Dave probably won't be like redecorating a room on camera.
Yeah, Dave's not going to talk to you how to get curtains at a discount.
Yeah, how do you get pillows at TJ Maxx and love them?
Speaking of which, like, what did you have a favorite segment of all these shows? Because you were doing a lot of different things, all around helping people, obviously, make good choices, but save money. Did you have one that you found, oh man, I really enjoyed that?
So I kind of do this, I try to make this balance between really good, hearty content and some fun, like light stuff. So I'd say the one that was probably more on the serious end that I really loved is I brought in a mom who got out of debt, and she talked about mom guilt, because as you're doing baby step 2 and getting out of debt, you're sacrificing everything from birthday parties to vacations. I mean, there's a lot. So I interviewed her on that, which I loved that. And then probably more the fun, like live segment, the like lighter one was with a blogger in Nashville. Her name's Landon, and she showed us how to redecorate a room completely, like on the cheap, and it looked so good. So I loved that.
Right, so I think the question that I have, it's my biggest question. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing. When are you going to have me on the show to talk to guys about how to dress sharp for less?
Well,
I mean,
Ken, you actually very nice, Ken.
Come on.
Can you see? Oh yeah, you can see your pants. Yeah, they're like plaid.
I mean, the accessories.
I don't even know if I have plaid pants.
I mean, come on, people want to know.
I know you'll come on as the style.
We once made some homemade pizza together on the Dave Ramsey Show video channel.
We did make homemade pizza together.
All right, that was my obnoxious pitch.
It would be fun.
I think it would be great fun.
You all let me know if you want.
It would be great fun. All right, so Love Your Life, Not Theirs. The book's still doing very, very well.
Yeah, it's still doing well, which is awesome.
You're cooking up new ideas all the time.
I know.
So look for that at RetireYoungClub.com.
Yep, absolutely. So new events and new stuff with the Rachel Cruze Show coming out this spring.
All right, so is that the YouTube channel and your website? Where do we want to send people?
Yeah, mostly, I mean, YouTube, Rachel Cruze is where a lot of my content is, but you can go to the website to look for, tickets to events, books, blog, content written stuff, so all the above.
All right, and you're coming back from maternity leave when?
December 11th. It's my first day back in the office. So
all right, that means we'll be on the Dave Ramsey Show together at some point soon, filling in for Dave.
I know.
So that'll be fun. Good to see you.
Holiday stuff.
You look fantastic.
Yes, thanks, Ken.
Motherhood looks great on you.
I appreciate that, Ken.
So excited about the little girls. Good stuff. All right, folks, we got to let Rachel go. She's going to be on stage inside in moments, so you don't want to miss that. But speaking of the Dave Ramsey Show, an opportunity that Rachel, myself, Chris Hogan, we get to guest host for Dave many, many times. And you can hear the Dave Ramsey Show in so many different places. Of course, on your local radio station where you listen to the show, iHeartRadio, and then, of course, Facebook Live. We're now putting the video, YouTube video as well, and then you can get it on podcast form, whether that be Google Play or on iTunes. And we now have on SiriusXM the Ramsey Network. This is an exciting venture that I get to be a part of. Of course, Christy Wright's Business Boutique show is on SiriusXM. Chris Hogan's Retire Inspired show, and Chris Brown, Life, Money, Hope. And then the Ken Coleman Show airs each day, previewing right before the Dave Ramsey Show. So that is Sirius Channel 132, Sirius XM Triumph Channel 132. We'd love for you to check it out. All of those shows on Sirius are also podcasted as well. So do check that out. Those are free resources. All right, so we went from one good friend to another great friend. You know him. I like to call him the voice. He calls himself Big Pop, if you've ever seen him speak at a Smart Money event. Chris Hogan joins me now on set. My man.
What's happening, buddy? It's
we
good
have
to be
to come
with
out
you.
to Phoenix, Arizona to see each other.
I know it. It's ridiculous.
I said to somebody a little bit earlier, where's Chris Hogan? They're like, he's somewhere here,
Yeah,
and I haven't seen you yet tonight.
I haven't. This is the first time we're getting to hang out. Love the pants, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So what are you doing tonight?
Well, I've been hanging out. I was here doing media all day. Had a blast, and then I was doing book signings, and then chatting with people. I was waiting to get up here with you.
That's right, my man.
Yeah, I had to wait in line. I don't like it.
I know. So you've spoken at many Smart Money events.
Yes.
People are live streaming this from all around the country. I want you to talk to some people, whether they're at a host site right now watching us, or they're sitting on their couch, and they decided we need to do something, so they tuned in tonight. You've been doing this a long time. You speak at these sold-out events. What are the range of emotions that maybe some of these people are experiencing, and then what would you say to them to face those and still walk forward on these baby steps?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I can tell you this. If you're sitting and you're watching this, there's a couple of things that's happened. You've either not made the progress that you've wanted to make, or you feel that tension. You've got a family you're trying to support, and you're tired of running out of money before the end of the month. And so what you're feeling right now is some hope. And that's a beautiful thing. But anytime you have hope in the equation, you also can have some doubt. And so doubt is one of those things that wants you to think that you can't. And so I want you to hear me. Where you are right now is the beginning point. You have an opportunity to take one step forward. And if you listen to my podcast, I say one step forward is called progress. And so I believe in you. I know you can do this. If you're married, work together as a team. If you're single or newly single, don't doubt yourself. Get connected with an accountability partner.
Hey, we were just talking about the show.
Hold on, we've got jet fly over.
Oh, I know. They can still hear us.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the SiriusXM network with Ramsey Solutions Network, and Retire Inspired is really a different kind of show. I love how you've taken the book, and then you had a series of events where you're touring around the country, and now you've taken it to another level with a weekly show. Why should people dive into that show?
Well, Ken, it's really one of those opportunities to continue the conversation. I think we've got to be careful of the message that we put in our head. You know, that little voice in the back of our head can make us think we can't do some things. And I want more people walking around in their 50s, in their mid-60s, living their dreams, not waking up to work another 12-hour shift on a job they don't love.
One of the questions I've heard asked of you at these events, maybe more than any question, curious to know what you think about people that are sitting right now and they're thinking this, and that is, I think it's too late, Chris. I'm so far behind the 8 ball. I'm just trying to get out of debt. I can't see the light at the end of that tunnel, much less retiring inspired. What do you say to them?
Well, I would just tell you that it is never too late, regardless of where you are. We've all made mistakes. We've all done some things that we can look back on and raise our hand and say, you know what, maybe I did something foolish with money at some point. But where you are now is that beginning point. It's never too late to get started, but also, Ken, I would talk to the young people. We've got all kinds of millennials here tonight, and I love that, and I know you're on the live stream as well. It's never too early to get started, to put those right things in the right place to begin to watch your money grow.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we've got people that are watching right now, and maybe their kids are moving into that high school and maybe getting into the college career, the college part of their life. What would you say to them as far as getting them started on retirement? If they don't have debt, then they can build their emergency fund. But what would you say to that person who's maybe a student and getting them started now?
Well, anytime you have students that are starting out, I would tell you this. Whenever you get that first job, plug into your 401k as soon as you can. As soon as you become eligible. Typically, you'll have to wait a year or 9 months. But as soon as you have an opportunity to plug into that. But don't touch that money, Ken. That's not an emergency fund. That's why you have an emergency fund. You need 2 things for money to grow: time and compound interest. And you want those 2 working for you on your side.
I like that. All right. What are you working on? I know you're doing more stuff with Retire Inspired, your program on SiriusXM. And of course, you can subscribe at chrishogan360.com or on iTunes, Google Play as well. What are some of the things you're tinkering around with? What's next for Chris Hogan?
Well, Ken, we're working on some stuff that's kind of secret right now. We're brainstorming some activities, but looking at some digital products to put out to be able to help people via the web. Brainstorming a couple new book ideas right now that we're actively researching
that's
and looking
good news
into.
for people.
You see how I put that out there?
You didn't tell us what it is.
I can't tell you yet. Can't tell you. But it's one of those things. I'm always looking, how can I encourage, educate, and empower people? Those are the things. That's what we're about. And so that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
All right, so I want to do something. I asked you a bunch of money stuff, but I want you to talk to this very large audience about something I know is very near and dear to your heart, and that's your youngest son, Case. Now, many of our tribe have begun to see some of the media that you and Melissa, your wife, and your youngest son, Case, have done. For those who haven't, give us a snapshot so they understand what Case, he's got a really rare disease, but God has been good. He's doing very well, but you're doing a lot, not just for Case, but for others. Tell folks about that.
Well, my youngest boy, Case, he's 10 years old, and at 2, he was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder called Hunter syndrome. That disease is a disease that by age 15, it could take away their ability to walk, talk, and for a lot of them even live. And so what we have done is we've started a foundation called Project Alive. You can go on there and watch videos about Case and other kids, but we're fighting for kids that don't have anyone to fight for them. And my little boy's doing well. He's on a clinical trial, but there are other kids that aren't. And so it's one of those things, when you've been given a lot, you've got an opportunity to give a lot. And so I'd encourage people, you can go to projectalive.org, read more about it, and if you want, you can support our case to help other kids.
Now, if they go to projectalive.org, will they see the video maybe of him on The Doctors?
Yes.
A very popular show.
Actually, that's interesting. We were just on an episode of The Doctors out in LA several weeks ago, but you'll be able to see a link to that, as well as a couple of videos that we put together telling Case's story a little bit more in depth. But you can see other kids around the nation that are dealing with this disease and see their story as well.
All right, so here we are. We're in November. Are you going to be out on the road anymore this year, or is this it?
Listen, I leave from here tomorrow. Dave and I go to New York, and we're going there to do media. Then from New York, I'll come back. Then I'm in D.C., and then from D.C., I go back out to Iowa to do another event. And so after that, I get to settle down a little bit and do my hair.
All right, when I hear Chris Hogan going to Iowa, you're not thinking about running for president.
Oh no.
This is a speaking event.
They wouldn't.
I just want to make sure.
No, they wouldn't let me run because we'd fix some stuff out there, baby. We'd balance a budget.
I'm telling you what, we sure would. All right, for people out there who are watching, before I let you go, because we're going to talk a little bit about our live events coming up in 2018. This guy will be at almost all of them. He's a busy dude. Why should someone come to an event like this tonight? What's the difference between, and it's great that they're watching live stream, but there's something also special about getting to an event. What would you say is special about it?
I would say people that come to the event, what you get an opportunity to see is you see people making decisions. We've got people here that are fighting against debt. We've got people here that are doing very well. They came out just to get a tune-up. They're trying to get an extra little shot in the arm, but the energy in the room, it's made up of like-minded people that have made a decision for their financial future, that where they are right now is not where they're going to end up. They've got things to chase and dreams to live.
That's good. All right, and before I let you go, tell people where to connect with you. I mentioned your website, but where do you want people to stay up to date with you?
You can connect with me on all things Chris Hogan at chrishogan360.com. That's just chrishogan360.com. Would love to connect with you. Would love to have you as a VIP on my podcast, as well as just being connected.
All right, so you've got to go get ready to sign some books later tonight. I got to stay here with these folks for a few minutes. But over there, I see a food truck that's got queso emblazoned on the side. Could you take care of a buddy? Could you give me a little queso?
I left my food envelope in my green room. I can't do that, King.
He can't give me some queso.
I'm a little light right now, a little light.
Chris Hogan.
Thank you,
brother.
brother.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
All right, folks. Well, hey, speaking of our live events in 2018, we've already got a full slate planned. Really exciting stuff. We're going to be in Salt Lake City, Grand Rapids, Boston, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Detroit, the Motor City. We're going to be in Seattle, Sacramento, San Antonio, and there will be more cities that are coming your way. Now, here's the deal. You go to DaveRamsey.com, and that's where you get a sense for all of the different types of events we do. Of course, Smart Money event, like we're doing here tonight. Then we have a money and marriage event with myself, Les Parrott, and Rachel Cruz. And then, of course, Christy Wright's Business Boutique events and our Smart Conference, which is coming to Boston, Massachusetts in spring of 2018. So if you go to DaveRamsey.com, we've got all the events laid out there for you, and you can check that out and come see us on the road. But here's the best part. We want to give you a special code. If you're thinking about coming to an event in 2018, go to DaveRamsey.com, as I mentioned, and use the code when you buy your tickets, LIVESTREAM25. LIVESTREAM25. And what that's going to get for you is a 25% off discount on your tickets at the event that you purchased them for. So do check that out. We'd love to see you on the road. Now remember, the FPU special offer is only for tonight. Dave Ramsey talked about it from the stage a little bit earlier. I want to remind you, this special deal of $99 is only for tonight. You get the 6 bonus items with your membership, so that's only available tonight. Now, if you've already been through FPU and you say, Ken, Dave, I've already done it, well, wait a second. This could be a great Christmas gift that literally is something they talk about for decades to come. So think about that as well as a great gift, maybe for Christmas or just to bless somebody in your life. So you can get the discount for friends as well. Again, you can purchase that in your app or DaveRamsey.com, or if you're at a host site, it's in the lobby. So do go check that out. All right, so this is fun. Some of our favorite people are coordinators. They are the front lines. We call them FPU coordinators. That's Financial Peace University. Dave talked about it, but we couldn't do what we get to do and see the life change that we get to see without men and women like Dan and Patty. And the coordinators, these are the people that are out there. They're spending of their time, and they're loving on people, and they're walking through it. And so we really, really love our coordinators. So on behalf of everybody at Ramsey Solutions, and we're thanking you really as a symbol of all of our coordinators, thank you so much for what you guys have done.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for being out here.
Thank you.
All right, so tell people, how many classes have you all coordinated?
Well, I think we're into our 21st class.
21 classes? All right, now, and if you want him to talk, you can just hold that mic up and down, okay? So here's the deal. How many years is 21 classes?
It's been 10 years, Ken.
10 years.
Yeah. And we started leading it because we heard the audiobook and came back and decided, you know, somewhere there we heard about this class, and we said, we've never been through it before. We're not finance people. We never had a degree in business, nothing like that. And we just said, we've got to jump in with both feet, and we're going to lead this and see what happens.
What was your financial situation? Can you remember where you were at in the journey?
Why don't you give the details, honey?
Yes.
Well, we had lived without debt for years, but we fell into a situation where we were convinced that we should buy a rental home, and we did. And they talked about equity in your home, which is really just debt. And we got into a rental home. We realized about 2 weeks later, wow, we just made the worst mistake of our lives. And that was our debt then.
Wow.
And so that's what we were working with to get.
So that leads you to the audiobook, then you take the class.
Right.
Really interesting. How long did it take you to get out of that debt once you took your first class or you led it?
7 years and 3 months.
7 years, so it wasn't right away.
No, it was a long haul.
Yeah.
And we just feel like it was one of those timing things in life where the right information came at the right time,
Yeah.
the right motivation. We listened to that audiobook and we laughed, but we cried because we realized we did something really stupid and we really need to get out of this.
Yeah.
And it took us 7 years and 3 months to do so.
Yeah. You know, one of the things we tell people all the time that really is astounding, and you won't be surprised by this, and you've heard this, but the average family that goes through FPU over the 9 weeks is paying off like $5,300 in debt, saving $2,700. That's extraordinary. But some people hear that and they go, there's no way. I want you to, you're real people. You've walked through those classes. Why is that a real piece of data, and how does that happen?
Well, couples, once they get into the class, oftentimes they walk in and they sit down and they cross their arms. They're looking at the ceiling, looking at the floor. Yeah, try to make me change kind of thing. And then after the second class, the third class they walk in, the one that had their arms folded is now taking notes, leaning forward, pressing in, and you're seeing the lights come on.
That's right.
And they're saying, we can do this. And they say, average? The average family pays off that much debt? And we're not going to be average, you know? We can do this. We can do better than average. And so they start working. You see husband and a wife get together and just say, watch out.
Yeah.
You know, here we come.
Yeah. What happens with the community? So you get all these different couples. Maybe sometimes the couples know each other, but many times I'm guessing with 21 classes, you got the complete strangers in there. And they begin, there's something about community. I don't want to put words in your mouth. How would you describe what happens when these strangers get together for 9 weeks?
Well, I think at first they're a little bit reticent. Like, I don't know that I want to really share anything. But after a couple weeks, they begin to realize, you know, we're all in the same boat and we all need help. And so it's been exciting for me to see, especially as a mom, how the moms just really start communicating and encouraging one another. And then even years later, I mean, they've bonded. And so their encouragement to one another, and I think they just realize that, you know, it's okay. It's okay to share where I am because these people are right there where I am.
Yeah. What's your favorite part? Both of you, give me your individual answer. Your favorite part about leading a class?
It touches so many different areas, Ken. I mean,
It's hard to single it out, isn't it?
It really is to land the plane on one thing.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many things.
I understand,
And
yeah.
I guess I would say that seeing a couple in the grocery store, no, it was the wife, and she yells at us from aisle 2, and we're in aisle 8.
Of course.
Right, 6 aisles
Right,
between us,
right.
lots of people, and she yells, Dan, we're on baby step 3 now.
Unbelievable.
And to see all the debt, I remembered all the debt that they had been in.
Yes.
That means they paid off all that debt and they're moving
Yeah.
forward. That's
Yeah.
the kind of thing that,
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
want you to speak very quickly to this. There are a lot of people watching and they think, maybe I'd like to do that, but I can't. I'm not done with the baby steps. Is that true or false? Do
That
you
would be
have to be
false.
debt-free to lead a class?
Obviously, we're examples.
Yeah, of course
No.
not.
right, of course not. Do it because the information that people need is greater than your desire to feel like you're really ready.
Yeah.
Christy Wright says, do it scared, ready
Yeah.
is a myth.
Yeah.
And she's dead on.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, 21 classes. What's the goal? Is there a goal, or are you just going to keep on doing it?
There's a goal.
I like it. What is
There's
it?
a goal,
I want to
Ken,
hear
and
it.
it is a glass fishbowl
Okay.
that is almost filled with cut-up credit cards.
Okay.
It's sitting in my office.
So once that gets full,
Once it's full, I'm coming to Nashville
oh, I love it.
and
I love
giving it
this.
to Dave if I can.
Yes,
and
he'll
you
come
and-
out. He'll come out during a break, and you give it to him.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
We're going to see
I
that
don't
goal.
think we'll ever stop.
You don't-
doing
I don't
it.
think you'll ever stop.
No, we love to
It's
be
great.
able to see people
Yeah.
freed up.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us because you really do embody what a coordinator is. And here's the deal. We need more of you. So here's what we want you to do. If you are interested in being a coordinator, just go to DaveRamsey.com, contact our office and our team. They'll get you over to our Financial Peace University team, and they will get you connected, okay? And we need people. And here's what it takes. You ready for this? 2 key characteristics that you need to lead a class. Number 1, you got to be able to smile. Can you smile and be friendly? And then secondly, can you push out one of your fingers, it doesn't matter which one, and press play on a DVD player? If you can do that, you are qualified. So, DaveRamsey.com, call our team. We need more coordinators to be on the front lines. All right, we've been telling you that Rachel Cruz is up next. She's a 2-time best-selling author, Smart Money, Smart Kids, co-author with Dave Ramsey. She followed that up with a bestseller, Love Your Life, Not Theirs. She's back from maternity leave to talk to you with some brand new material within the baby steps. She will encourage you. She's lived it. She's seen her dad model it, and now she's modeling to the next generation. Please sit back and enjoy my dear friend, best-selling author, Rachel Cruz.
Hello, hello. Oh, you guys. Oh, it's so great to be here tonight in Phoenix, and all of you watching on the live stream. This is so fun. I have been on maternity leave for the last 3 months, so I feel like I have like hair and makeup, like my hair is teased and I have makeup on. Doing real good, guys. Doing real good. But yeah, so Caroline was born on July 29th, about 3 months ago, and I think we brought a picture of her. Yes, and Amelia, who's 2.5. So yes, the Cruz family is all complete, and our dog is even a girl, so you can pray for my husband. There's like a lot of estrogen going on in our household, but it's so good to finally be back and being able to travel the country and talk about the subject of money. So before the break, Dad walked through baby steps 1 and 2, right? So getting a $1,000 emergency fund, then getting out of debt using the debt snowball, and then on to baby step 3, which is 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. 3 to 6 months. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is a tough step, okay? Because the $1,000, it's like, oh, yeah, we can do that. Some of you have it already, and you're like, we're going to get home, we're going to complete that. And then you're doing the debt snowball, and you're getting out of debt. You're feeling this intensity. You're feeling this freedom. And then you get to baby step 3. where you're like, okay, our foot still has to be on the gas. We still have to keep saving money. And really, it's not as exciting and as flashy as like getting out of debt and that kind of thing. You really do have to focus on this idea of saving money. And that can be very hard for some people because your money personality, naturally, you're either a saver or a spender. So I'm just curious, how many of you are natural savers? Oh yeah, the wise ones in the room, yes. How many of you are more like me, where you're a natural spender? Yeah, we're the fun ones, aren't we? It's amazing, you guys. I've learned to be a saver, but I can spend money so quickly. Like one thing I do, I love spending money on, which some people say is a huge waste, is cable. Okay, I love TV. I love to watch TV. My husband Winston's always like, why can we not just stream everything like normal millennials? Why are we still paying for cable? And I'm like, because the Real Housewives of Orange County are there and I need to watch it, right? I do. I love TV. And I also love politics, which I know, like this time last year, everyone was so ready for the election to be over, except for me. I was like, this could just continue on. I mean, I love it. I love politics. So my friends know this about me, and one of my friends told me about this documentary on Anthony Weiner, who was a congressman, and then he got on all this like scandal stuff. Then he ran for mayor of New York, and then I think he got in more scandal stuff. I think now he's in jail or something. But it's getting exciting, I promise. I'll tell you more exciting things. So I'm watching this documentary on Anthony Weiner because it was all about his run to be mayor of New York. And my friend was like, you have to watch it. So I was home one day. This is how easily I can spend money. I was home one day, and I was like, okay, oh yeah, I'm going to watch that documentary. So I go and I search for it on Comcast, and it's $19.99 just to rent. Just to rent. And I thought, ooh, yeah, it's okay, right? Us spenders, we're like, we'll figure out a place to put in the budget. No big deal. So I buy it, and I watch it. Really great documentary, by the way. And a few weeks later, I come home from work, and Winston's on the phone, and I just hear him say, no, this is unbelievable. You guys do this every month. You seem to always charge us extra. No, I'm not paying for this. No. I was like, who are you talking to? Comcast. I was like, oh, yeah. Comcast and Winston's relationship is never good. Always on the rocks. And he was like, no, I did not order a documentary called Wiener. No. I was like, oh no, that was me. He was like, what? I was like, I ordered it. He was like, Rachel? I was like, I'm sorry. He was like, I'm sorry. My wife ordered the Wiener documentary. I was like, no. It's about a man, Anthony Weiner. True story. And he said, Rachel, whenever you spend money like that, you have to tell me, because Winston is a saver, and he looks over all the bills. I mean, he knows everything that's going on. He's so detailed. I was like, okay, I'll tell you. But us spenders, sometimes it takes a few mistakes, right, for us to learn. Because then, a few weeks later, I was watching another show. I wanted to watch another show called The Circus on Showtime, and we didn't have Showtime. So I'm like searching on Comcast, and it says, order package. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not, right? Click on it. I'm like, yeah, we'll figure out where to put it in the budget. Us spenders, we can do that. True story, came home a few days later. Winston's on the phone. No, this is unbelievable. We're going to cancel you guys. I can't believe this is happening again. No, we don't have Showtime. I was like, oh no, that was me. And so we've had to learn how to balance our spender and saver part of our marriage, but I've learned. So all that to say, you spenders out there who can quickly spend money, this baby step can be very difficult. But to get this 3 to 6 months of expenses is so crucial, because what this ends up happening is it gives you such a huge safety net between you and life. So once you're out of debt and you have this, it's amazing the relaxation that happens in your body, where you're just like, oh, we got this. And so with this money saved, you want it to be liquid, which means you want to be able to get to it very, very easily. And so you want to be able to put this in a money market account or a savings account, and you want to be able to get to it quickly. Because here's the deal. If you're not going to be in debt anymore, right? We've gotten out of debt. We're going to stay out of debt. Debt and saving are basically opposites. So if you're not going to be in debt, saving is your only option. Because with debt, you're paying interest. With saving, you're earning interest. With debt, you're taking on risk. Savings lowers your risk. With debt, you owe. With saving, you own. So this step is vital. It's your only option, is to save money if you don't want debt. But again, make sure that you can get to it easily. So again, a money market account or a savings account is great with this. And I'll tell you, for us ladies out there, as I've done research on this subject specifically, I have found that women's number one fear with money, their number one financial fear, is lack of security. How many of you ladies feel that? The lack of security, yes. And so, clapping, great fear, it is. But it's amazing because it really is so true, it's so real. And when this is done, this 3 to 6 months of expenses, us as ladies, we just rest in a place that you men probably don't have, right? It's just this topic of like, oh, okay, we're gonna be okay. If something were to happen, if there's a job loss, a big emergency comes up, we're gonna be taken care of. And so that's what's key about this baby step. Now, you're gonna be saving up for the emergency fund, but you're also gonna save up for other things. And this you have to make a priority. You have to make saving a priority, which can be difficult. Again, for us spenders, you have to really exercise this muscle of saving. And so on your budget, you wanna have your first line item to be giving, and your second is savings. You want to make it a priority. So you're gonna save really for 3 reasons. Number 1, for an emergency fund that we just talked about. This is your safety net, again, between you and life. Number 2 is purchases. If you're going on vacation, if you're buying a car, whatever it is, have the patience and save up and pay for things. And this can be difficult because delayed gratification is something that we do not practice on a daily basis here in America, right? I mean, you can basically get anything you want right when you want it. And so this is hard, but save up and pay for those things. And then also save up for wealth building. Number 3, wealth building. So as we're looking at these baby steps 1, 2, and 3, we're doing in a vacuum. You're doing it solo. You're just focusing on each step at a time. Now, baby steps 4, 5, and 6, you're going to do at the same time, but with priority. So on to baby step 4 is to invest 15% of your household income into Roth IRAs and pre-tax retirement. Now, if that blank gave you an ulcer because now you're stressing out and you're thinking, what the heck is all of this? I don't know. We're getting to the investment portion. Oh, so many people find this topic so intimidating, so scary. So listen, you want to be able to find someone in this area of life that you trust to help you with this. Because not everyone's going to be a master at investing. But people spend their entire life studying this, and a lot of people are really good at it. So find someone. We have SmartVestor Pros that we recommend. If you're here tonight, there's some out in the lobby in the Phoenix area. If you're at home watching this, you can go to smartvestorpro.com, and we give you a name of someone that we personally recommend who has the heart, we like to say, the heart of a teacher, not the heart of a salesman. So really, find that person to help you because this can be a very intimidating subject. Now again, saving for the future, it can be difficult for saving for retirement, especially for us young people, right? When you're on the younger end of the spectrum, you feel like you're just throwing money into a black hole. And it's like, okay, I'll just see that again, when I'm older. And so it's gonna take a lot of intensity and a lot of focus to be able to do this. But the sooner you start saving money, the better off you're going to be. The sooner you start, because of a beautiful thing called compound interest, right? We love compound interest. Albert Einstein said that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. And it's amazing. It's basically this mathematical explosion that happens with your money. Because what happens is you actually are earning money not on what you invest, but you're earning money of interest throughout the year. So it's like you're making interest on the interest the year before, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before as you save. So that's why the earlier you start, the better off you're going to be. If you look at just simple math, say you just invested $100 a month, $100 from age 25 to age 65. That's $1.1 million. Can watch a lot of documentaries with that money, right? $1.1 million, $100 a month, you guys. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy what we just flippantly spend $100 on, right? I mean, we can walk into Target, which is the black hole of goodness, and I walk out of there spending $100 so easily, so fast. I mean, if you get your spending under control and you make this a priority, it's amazing what you can do. $100 a month, you can retire a millionaire. Now, you want to be able to have a dream meeting with your spouse when it comes to the subject of the future and retirement. And dreaming together, it's so important, because when you and your spouse sit down together and you have a shared dream, it ends up bringing you guys closer together. And you can create such shared accomplishments and goals when you're working together. That's the result. It's so, so, so key. And so I like to say, when it comes to marriage and creating a life that you guys love together, money is simply a tool to get you where you want to go, right? It's not going to be the main focus of everything you do, but it is the tool to realize those dreams. And so when you think about your dreams with your spouse, I like to break them up in kind of two categories. Your short-term dreams, which is 5 years or less, and then your long-term dreams, which will be 5 years or longer. So your short-term dreams could be something like, well, maybe we want to move because of the kids' school system, or maybe we want to get out of debt in the next 5 years. A dream for me is to take Amelia, our 2.5-year-old, to Disney World before she turns 3, because she gets in free. Who says I'm not a saver? I'm saving. Winston, on the other hand, is like, that's crazy. Why would we take her to Disney World when she's never going to remember? I was like, babe, she sees Cinderella for the first time. Do you know how happy that's going to make you? He was like, you're doing this all for you. And I said, you're exactly right. Yes, I am. As her mother, I want to see that. It's not always the happiest place on earth when we talk about it, but hopefully we'll get there. You guys can pray for us, because it's my goal to get to Disney World. No, but your short-term dreams will be 5 years or less. Your long-term dreams will be 5 years or longer. So these will be bigger dreams, things like paying off the house. Maybe even paying for your kids' college is a huge goal. Maybe it's going to Europe together and you want to travel. Whatever it is, sit down and have that shared dream, because it is so key that you guys as couples are working together and you're going together in that goal. And so what you want to do is to identify the gap between that dream and reality. Whatever your dreams are, what's in the middle there? How can you get there? And for those of you that need to figure out where you are currently and where you're going, you can check out ChrisHogan360.com. Chris Hogan's one of our other Ramsey personalities. He's awesome. And there's a free tool on his website called RIQ. And it basically is, you put in all your numbers and it just spits out a dollar amount of what you need to save per month in retirement to get you to your dream. And it's so great. So check it out. It's free. And again, it's just a really tangible tool for you to use. Numbers change when people do. And I love that line. Numbers change when people do. 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 52% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved in retirement. So this stuff is not going to happen just overnight. It's not going to happen just because you want it to. You actually have to do it. You actually have to do it. And so again, talk to a SmartVestor Pro, get into this idea of investing for your dreams, because a lot of you are freaking out because dad told you to stop investing when you're getting out of debt. Now this is the point where all of you investment people that are like, oh my gosh, I have to invest. You can kind of breathe a sigh of relief. We got there, right? You can start investing back into retirement with baby step 4. Now, after you do that, you're going to move on to baby step 5, which is fund college. Fund college. And you'll realize that you're funding retirement before your kids' college. And you are not a bad parent by doing that. Because listen, retirement is going to happen whether you like it or not. College, it may or may not happen. And this whole subject of college and student loans, I mean, it's a huge problem in our world today. Some of you are sitting out there with tens of thousands of dollars of student loan debt. I mean, Sally Mae is not your BFF, right? She is the annoying girl that keeps just hanging around. You're like, oh my gosh, she's everywhere. And it's so sad because I'll travel the country and I'll talk to students that are in the middle of all of this. And I remember speaking at a private university where this guy came up to me and he said, after I spoke, and he said, hey, Rachel, listen, I kind of have a problem. I took out some student loans and I'm actually engaged to be married. We're getting married in May. And I was like, okay, well, let me stop you. How much student loans did you take out? And he said, $90,000. I said, okay. And he said, yeah, and my fiance, she has some debt too. I was like, well, how much does she have? Oh, about $90,000. $180,000. With not even starting out. I mean, that's a house for some people, right? $180,000. For an undergrad degree in English, by the way. And he said, yeah, and you know, Rachel, we really feel called after we get married to go to the mission field. What do we do? And I was a little bit nicer than this, but I thought, what do? You can't go to the mission field. Like, you have to go get a job. You have $180,000 to pay back, you guys. I mean, where were your parents? Where were your parents when you were taking out $90,000 of loans? I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I would be so bold to say that I don't think we have a student loan issue in America. I think we have a parenting issue in America. Parents, step up and love your kids well in this subject. Because at 18 years old, some of them signed their entire financial life away at 18. And some 18-year-olds are stupid, aren't they? They don't know. Guide them and help them. So when you get to this step, you can start funding college by an educational savings account, an ESA. And this is invested in growth stock mutual funds. It's the best place. So I think in 2018, if I have my numbers correct, you can fund up to $2,200 a year in an ESA. It does have some income limits, so you can look at a 529 plan if that's something you want to look at as well. There's some good options there. But start helping and funding your kids' college. But let me tell you this, parents, if you don't get to this step by the time your kids go to college, you are not a bad parent. Okay? You are not a bad parent if you can't financially help. College is a blessing. It's not an entitlement. So you're not a bad parent. There's so much guilt with parenting these days. So listen, if you can help them, that's great. Now, if you have a junior in high school, or a sophomore, and you're like, okay, they're going to be going soon. What can we do to help them go debt-free? Here are a couple of things that are great. Number one, select an affordable school. This is the biggest mistake students make. They go, they step over a state line and pay 3 times as much, right, to go to basically the same school. So stay in state, take that in-state tuition, go to a community college for the first year or 2, right? If you've been to college, that first year it's history and math and foreign language, right? Take all of that at an inexpensive community college and then transfer if you want. But look for your cheaper options when it comes to picking your school. If you can't afford private school, don't go. You're okay, right? All of us in the real world that work, your employer, like 90% of employers around America right now, do not care where you went to school, do they? They really don't. They don't really care. Now, a small sector, sure, they might. But majority of people, they don't care. They just want to know that you work hard, you're willing to learn, you'll come in early, you'll leave late, you'll work hard to do what you have to do for that company. They really don't care where you went. So don't focus so much on that. So select that affordable school. Number 2, aim for scholarships and grants. This is free money here. I was talking to a girl in Texas, and she told me that her mom, she grew up in a single mom's household, and her mom made her apply for 2 scholarships every day from her senior year, or from the Christmas break of her senior year, all the way up until May. 2 a day she had to apply for these scholarships. She said, I was mad, I was frustrated at her, but she told me, Rachel, I'm graduating next year completely debt-free. My school was entirely paid for by scholarships, and I'll have $2,000 in the bank when I graduate. I looked at her, I was like, you are a unicorn. You don't exist in our world today. What? I said, purely from scholarships and grants. She said, yeah, even if it was a $200 scholarship, I'd fill out the form and I'd send it in. And she said, it took me probably 15 minutes to do that. And that means she made $200 in 15 minutes if she got that. I mean, it's crazy. Take the time and help your students see the benefits of applying for those scholarships and grants. And number 3 might be a little bit of a shock to some of you, but get a job. Get a job. How many of you worked while in school? And you're here and alive. It's amazing, isn't it? As I did research on this topic specifically, I found so many interesting studies, and one study showed that if the average college student works 20 hours a week, which is a lot, I get that, but 20 hours a week for a college student, they can pay their way through an in-state school. And then some students who work 10 to 19 hours a week, the average student working 10 to 19 hours graduates with a higher GPA than students that don't work. Shocking, isn't it? They have to learn time management, and they have to be productive with their time. And it's amazing as you start looking at all this and as it unfolds, you really can today. It's hard. It's not easy. It's so much easier to just sign your name to a student loan. It's so much easier. It's hard work, but with patience, dedication, smart choices, today you can still help your student, your child, go to school debt-free. It's an amazing, amazing thing. And what that does is that starts a pathway for your family to be different in America. And as you're applying all of these baby steps, you're changing not only your life, but you're changing people around you. You singles out there, your friends are seeing what you're doing. Your community starts looking and seeing. If you're married in here, your spouse, if you have kids, your family, you start changing the people in your lives and the people that you love as you start applying this and you start teaching this even to other people. But just your example is huge. And that's what I want you to hear tonight, especially from my perspective of being a child, if you will, in a household that taught me these things, is what you're doing is so, so important. Because growing up, mom and dad, they used this analogy in parenting of a rope. So the idea of this rope was that we were tied to one end of the rope as kids, and mom and dad had the other end. And depending upon how well we made decisions in life, how trustworthy we were, worthy of their trust, they would essentially let this rope out for us, and we could have more freedom to make more and more of our own decisions. But if we made a bad decision, they would pull the rope back in. So I can vividly remember being probably, I think I was 13 at the time. I just turned 13. And I got dropped off at the movies by my mom to go with some friends. And we decided not to go see the movie. We decided to go across the street and get ice cream at the McDonald's over there. And so when mom came back to pick me up, I wasn't there. And so she had to look for me. And this is before cell phones and all of that. So, of course, we had a family meeting about it that night, AKA Rachel's in trouble again. And I remember Dad saying specifically, Rachel, you are not where you said you were going to be. And because of that, you've lost some of our trust. We can't trust you next time we drop you off. So we're going to have to pull the rope back in. And, of course, you know, being 13, I'm just like laid out on the floor, just, oh, my gosh, my life is over. Because if you've had a 13-year-old girl in your household, there's like 2 people that live in her body. There's a 3-year-old and a 33-year-old. It's like, you never know which one you're going to get, right? But then a few years later, I was 15, and I remember going to a party, and there were some adult beverages being passed around. And I called my mom to pick me up. And I got in the car, and she looked at me, and she said, Rachel, you get lots of rope. Lots of rope. Good choice. Good choice. And so when my sister Denise was graduating high school and going off to college, we had this big dinner for her the night before she left. If you've had your first one leave home, you know that feeling that, you know, everything's about to change. And we sat in the dining room, and we ate off the fancy plates that you only eat off for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we went around the table telling stories about Denise, and we were laughing and crying. It's like she was dying or something, but she wasn't. Just moving 2.5 hours away. But towards the end of that dinner, Dad pulled out this gift bag, and he pulled this out of it, a rope. And I remember he said, Denise, tomorrow you leave for college, and our rope doesn't reach from Nashville, Tennessee to Knoxville. And so your day-to-day decisions now, they're up to you. And he tied these different ribbons around the rope, symbolizing different areas of her life. So he put red on there for her academics, orange because she was going to the University of Tennessee, go Vols. Yes. Purple was for her spiritual walk, white was for her purity, and yellow was if she ever needed to come home. And he said, Denise, this is your entry into adulthood. You know, you're now an adult. And he handed her the rope. And we all just cried, and we're like, oh my gosh, Denise has the rope, the whole thing. She's never coming back. Now, I'm the middle child of the Ramsey family, so the neglected and abused child. And the night before I went to college, we had pizza on paper plates. And I was going up the stairs to go to bed, and Dad just yelled through the house, "Rachel, you need a rope, don't you?" Yeah. Went to the garage, gave me this. I'll let you decide which child is their favorites, but I look at this rope as kind of this legacy that my parents passed to me. And they were parents that were not perfect, but they were intentional with us. And as I look back, I am so thankful that they handed me this legacy versus this legacy. And so tonight, you have a choice. As you're learning these baby steps, and Dad is about to come back out and finish the last two, but you have a choice on which legacy you're going to leave. In Deuteronomy, it says, "I call heaven and earth as witness today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing or cursing. So choose life, that you and your descendants may live." Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back, Dave Ramsey. Yep. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm a little proud. Shut up. World-class communicator, 2 times #1 best-selling author, including her latest book, Love Your Life, Not Theirs. She'll be out after the event, for those of you here in Phoenix, at the actual physical event, signing these books. If you'd like to meet Rachel, she'll be hanging around and be happy to talk to you. And she's pretty much just like that all the time. That's just her. Yeah. The Wiener documentary? What? You just said that out loud in church. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh. The things we get away with. Unbelievable. Y'all pray for her husband. My goodness. All right, let's review for a second before we go any further. #1, you got a free every dollar budget app that you're going to go get, free for your iPhone or for your Android or for your desktop, whatever you want. A free will from U.S. Legal Forms. You circled it and put stars around it to get the URL so that it's free for you. You got a free quote from Xander Insurance. And Rachel just covered to go to Chris Hogan's website, ChrisHogan360.com, for the free RIQ. It's your retire-inspired quotient, your retirement IQ. You need to know your retirement IQ. You need to know what you're aiming at, because if you don't know what you're aiming at, you can't hit it. You got to go, this is where we're going, and here's what it takes to get there. And that tells you what you got to build up, and you can get that friend of yours, compound interest, working on your side that she was talking about. And we'll review the baby steps. And as she said, the first 3 baby steps are compartmentalized. You don't do anything else. You temporarily stop saving money. You temporarily stop doing anything except the baby step that you're working on when it's baby step 1. Complete focus. What you focus on, you do. If you don't focus on it, you don't do it. And you have to focus. So baby step 1 is $1,000. Say $1,000. Baby step 2 is we've stopped all 401ks temporarily for a short period of time. The average person gets completely out of debt using this system, using the Total Money Makeover book, or going through Financial Peace University, or listening to the podcast. The people doing their debt-free screams, we've kept the averages all these years. The average is about 24 months to be debt-free but the house. That means that some people take longer and some people do it quicker. Some of you got enough money in the bank, just go home, pay off your debt. Shut up, right? And then, so you're done, instant, right? Others, it's going to take you, you got Sally Mae and her 3 sisters living with you. I mean, it's like you got so much student loan debt you can't breathe, right? So it's going to take you a little longer. But baby step 2 is the debt snowball. It usually takes about 1.5 to 2 years. So baby step 2 is you list your debts smallest to largest, you pay them off in that order, you attack them in that order with that gazelle intensity, blinders, complete focus, not listening to what the culture is telling you. You are on a mission for your family to change your direction. Your tone is not being set by who's at the stoplight next to you. You're changing everything. Then baby step 3, once you're out of debt and you don't have any payments but a house payment, by the way, does that feel pretty good just right there? I mean, that you start to feel it then if you just visualize that. And then when you just take all your money, and real quickly, it takes about 6 months to finish up this baby step 3, a fully funded rainy day fund. That's what Grandma called it, a rainy day fund, right? You know why Grandma called it a rainy day fund? Because Grandma knew it was going to rain, even in Phoenix. It's going to rain. Life's going to happen. Money Magazine says 78% of you will have a major negative financial event in any given 10-year period of time. Something that's $5,000 to $25,000 is going to hit your household in a given 10 to 25-year period of time. You're going to have stuff happen. Life's going to happen, isn't it? And you better be ready when Murphy knocks at your door, because he's coming. It's going to rain. Dave, you need to be positive. I'm positive. It's going to rain. You need to get ready. It's going to happen. And your life is different if you got $20,000 in the bank and no debt, and they come in and go, we're laying you off today. You know what you do if you got $20,000 in the bank and they no debt at all, and they say we're laying you off today? You know what you say? Good. I don't like this place anyway. How much is the severance? Because I think I'm going to go in business. You people are clowns. I'm going against you. That's what you do if you're not in debt, right? You have a different way of looking at things. But if you're $20,000 in debt and have no money, and they come in and lay you off, you're like, oh, God! Right? World comes to an end, doesn't it? It changes the whole story, doesn't it? Changes everything. That's financial peace, 2 words that don't go together, like airline service. So you finish up that emergency fund because things are going to happen. There's going to be car wrecks. There's going to be cancer. There's going to be job layoffs. This one I don't understand. An unexpected pregnancy. Say what? Okay, whatever. Life's going to happen. You better be ready. Now, if you got 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside and no debt except your house, are you in a pretty good shape? Say yes. By the way, that puts you in about the top 95% of the public. That's how ridiculously rich and broke we all are. We make more money than any nation has ever made in the history of man, and we're broke. Riding around looking like you're somebody with no money. All the money comes in, all the money goes out, and only the names are changed to protect the innocent. Spending everything we make like we're in Congress. In Texas, they call that big hat, no cattle. Looking like you're something we're not. Quit faking it. Be who you is. Live like no one else, so that later you can live and give like no one else. The Bible says no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. It changes your life when you get control of these areas. So now you finish the emergency fund. Now you do, as Rachel said, baby steps 4, 5, and 6 simultaneously. 15% goes into retirement, and you can now do 15% into retirement. And by the way, if you put 15% into retirement from age 40 to about age 65, 98% of you will be millionaires or multimillionaires doing that. If you put that in good growth stock mutual funds and a 401k with no match. If they match, it'll be on top of that. It'll be gravy on the biscuit. But that's how the numbers work out. Here's the numbers, okay? Average household income in America, $56,000. Take 15% of that, put it in a mutual fund for 20 years and see what you get. See if you don't get $1 million, okay? You will. And so there's no excuse for everybody to be retiring broke. We're just spending everything. We're not paying any attention. What's going on? There's no intentionality. There's no focus. And then once you're doing that, then you take care of kids' college, and you make sure that, as Rachel said, you're a good parent. Because Rachel and I are really sure, and Anthony, we work with these guys all the time, we're really concerned that there's a student loan crisis, but the student loan crisis was caused by a parenting crisis. Because parents were not speaking up. I had a guy call me from Michigan the other day, and he's like, Dave, my son told me he's going to this expensive school I can't afford. What should I do? I said, how old is your son? He's 17. And I said, well, there's your problem. He said, what do you mean? I said, my 17-year-old son didn't tell me anything. I told him stuff. But he didn't tell me stuff. That's not how this works. Got this backwards. You're on my payroll. The inmates don't run the asylum, you know? I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to tell you where you're going. And if I'm paying for it, you're going to do it that way. You're a control freak. You're right, because I'm older and smarter than you. You know, you haven't got this stuff figured out yet. You're going to go get a degree in left-handed puppetry, and that's probably not a good idea. probably ought to think about this, and then gripe because society owes you something because you were stupid in your field of study. You know, isn't that an oxymoron right there? Stupid in your field of study. Isn't that weird that we just say stuff like that? But that's where it is. So parents, step up. No, we're not doing this. That's for me and my house. You're going to this school because it's one we can afford. And I'm going to help you get your scholarships, and I'm going to help you show how to work, and I'm going to put in what I can put in. But this is what we can afford. And by the way, Wall Street Journal did a study. 78% of the Fortune 500 companies, CEOs and CFOs graduated from state schools, not prestigious universities that were 7 times as expensive. I graduated from the University of Tennessee. Tuition is $12,000 a year. Vanderbilt is a wonderful university right there in our city. $56,000 a year. Is it, 5 times better? I'm sure it's not, because people that work for Vanderbilt work for me. Went to Vanderbilt, work for me. Think this through, okay? Am I saying an expensive education is a bad thing? No, not if you pay for it. I don't care where you go. I got a cousin, a niece that graduated from Vanderbilt and had a free ride because she was valedictorian. That's awesome. Go. I'm glad. It's a wonderful education. Go for it. But you can make it on your little old state education, believe me. A bunch of us have. A bunch of us are doing okay. So quit acting like this stuff matters, because there's no statistical evidence to back up your theories on it. There's no research to back up that where you went to school is tied to your success rate. None. Can't find it. And which frat you were part of was tied to your success rate. That's all college theory. There's no data. You can't find it. I've been doing this for years. And believe me, I get criticized on this. Believe me. By people who got those educations. So, baby step 6 then you do simultaneously. Pay off the home early. Rent something affordable until you buy. We don't yell at people for taking out a mortgage, although we like the 100% down plan. But what we tell people on the Dave Ramsey Show is if you're going to take a mortgage, have a plan to pay it off really fast. The most you should take, and I'd rather you do the 100% down plan. And I talked to a young couple I've talked to lots of young couples that have done that. They started listening. They were financial peace babies. Their mom and dad went through the course when they were 10, and they both grow up, and they both get married, and they save like crazy coming out of college, and they get a good education that they paid for, and they come out, they got no debt, and they're piling up, they're making $100,000, $125,000 a year between them. They're killing it, and they're banking $50,000 a year for 4 years, and they pay cash for a $200,000 house. That stuff is happening all over the place. But even if you don't do that one, the most you take out is a 15-year fixed rate where the payment's no more than 1/4 of your take-home pay. We recommend Churchill Mortgage, and they'll line you up and help you get all that stuff done. I've endorsed Mike Hardwick and that team for, goodness, 20-something years, probably close to 25 years now. And good folks, and they'll take care of you on that. But the whole idea of taking that out is to get rid of it. The average person working this plan is 2 years through the debt snowball, 6 more months knocks out the emergency fund, start putting 15% of your income aside, then start working for your kids' college, if that applies, and then start throwing everything else at the house and get the house paid off. The average home is paying off in about 7 years. Average. Some people are taking 12. Oh, well. Some people are doing it in 3 because they just looked up and said, I want to be done. I want to be done. Because think about it. What would you do if you had no house payment? We did this little number a while ago. Did you hear the number, the $500 number on the car payment? It became $5.6 million. You remember that one? You want to do that with your house payment? Yeah. See, we're talking about not you being a millionaire. We're talking about you being a decamillionaire at this point. Deca's 10. That's a lot. And what if I'm half wrong? Oh, well. I'm not sure I agree with Dave Ramsey's theories. Well, then try yours. This one's working. This one's working. Average millionaire is taking about 17 years to become a millionaire. That's the average in the nation, okay, from the time they actually get smart. Now, that's not their whole lifespan, but I woke up, I quit borrowing money, I got rid of the stupid car payments, and I started putting money in my 401k. I got the match, I got my house paid off, and they got $700,000 in their 401k with their match, and they're 52 years old, and they got a $500,000 house paid for. That's $1.2 million net worth. Ding. So doable. It's not get rich quick. If you're looking for get rich quick, you're in the wrong room. We don't sell microwaves here. We sell crock pots. This stuff takes time. Well, and it is not wise to keep your home mortgage as a tax deduction. I don't want to pay off my home mortgage. My tax person says I'll lose the tax deduction. What you need to lose is your tax person who's an idiot. That's what you need to lose. Let me walk you through the numbers, okay? Take a $200,000 mortgage. This happened to me. I was selling real estate. I was 19 years old, and I sold a piece of real estate in East Tennessee to this old farmer up in the hills, and it was a $90,000 piece of ground, and he came into the closing in old-fashioned bib overalls. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like Farmer Jones bib overalls, right? He reached into the top of the overalls and paid cash for the $90,000 piece of property. And I went, oh, you don't want to do that. You need to take out a mortgage. This is a farm. You can write off the interest. It's a business deduction. You don't want to. He goes, you're in college, aren't you? Yes, sir. They just taught me that in class. He goes, yeah. They're broke up there, too. And he walked me through these numbers, and I felt like a mathematical idiot, because I was. And this is what the culture believes. You ever heard people say, don't pay off your mortgage, you lose the tax deduction? Well, to start with, only 27% of Americans itemize. If you don't itemize, you don't have a tax deduction on your home. You took a standard deduction that you would have got whether you had a home mortgage or not. So we're only talking to 27% of the people when we discuss this. The rest of it's freaking theory. That's a rationalization and justification to stay in debt. So a $200,000 mortgage at 5% interest, to do the math easy, makes it easy. 5% of $200,000 is $10,000. Does that sound right? Say yes. So if you have a $10,000 interest charge on your $200,000 mortgage, and it's your personal residence, and you itemize, you can take that as a $10,000 tax deduction, can't you? Say yes. There are no trick questions here, okay? Now, if you were to do that, and you were making, say, $75,000 a year household income, above average, that would put you in a 25% tax bracket. When you take a $10,000 tax deduction, it is not a tax credit off of your tax bill. It is a reduction in the amount of income that is taxed. You understand what a tax deduction is? And so instead of being taxed on 75, I'll be taxed on 65 if I have a $10,000 tax deduction. If I didn't have this deduction, in other words, I would have to pay taxes on $10,000 more in income. Does that make sense? Say yes. Okay? So what am I saving by having a $10,000 tax deduction? My tax rate times the tax deduction, or if I'm in a 25% tax bracket, I save $2,500 on my tax bill. So here's what these idiots are saying to you. Send Countrywide $10,000 to keep from sending the IRS $2,500. And we call that sophisticated. If you want to make that trade, come, we'll do an altar call right now. I'll trade those dollars for quarters all day. How long y'all want to do it? You're giving them $10,000 to keep from giving the other people $2,500. Does that not look stupid to you? That's just straight up stupid. And if your tax woman cannot do math any better than that, you need some help other than them on your taxes. Because they're telling you to trade dollars for quarters. It's a bad trade. Pay off your mortgage. Don't fall into this. And that's the math. There's no disputing that math. That's exactly how it works. So think about it. Again, what could you do if you had no payments? Well, then you would move into baby step 7. In baby step 7, you max out all your retirement options, and you start investing and saving, and you start building wealth like crazy. You build wealth and you give with outrageous generosity. Your most powerful wealth building tool is now in your hands because you don't have a payment in the world. Not only is there a sense of freedom, but there's also a sense of mathematical opportunity in front of you like you've never even thought of before. Your income, other than taxes and utilities and food, is now yours to build wealth with and to be outrageously generous with. And giving is possibly the most fun you will ever have with money in your life. I've got a good friend who's an Orthodox Jewish rabbi named Rabbi Daniel Lapin, and we became friends because I read this book, Thou Shalt Prosper. And it is a book written by a rabbi on why Jewish people have a tendency to prosper. And since 3% of Americans are Jewish and 67% of the Forbes 400 are, I thought I'd want to read this book. And It's one of my favorite books ever. I started talking about it on the radio, and I get this call from Seattle where Rabbi lives, and he's South African is his descent, so he's got this great Rabbi South African accent thing going. It's just, I wish I could do the accent. Hillbilly South African Rabbi just really wouldn't work, but he's like, my book is selling, who are you? I love you. And I went, well, I love you too. I'm a fanboy for no question. And so we started talking back and forth and started trading. We've become great friends. We've used him to speak at some of our events and things over the years. He's just a jewel. He's taught me a lot about what I call the Old Testament, what he calls the Bible. And we have traded all kinds of great stories back and forth. He's just a great, wonderful, very, very wise man. And this is one of the most beautiful pictures. A guy asked me today why I still work. This is why I work right here. As the Sabbath ebbs away each Saturday night, Jewish families prepare for the productive work week ahead by singing the joyful Havdalah service. The Havdalah service is recited over a cup of wine that runs into the saucer beneath. This overflowing cup symbolizes the intention to produce during the week ahead, not only sufficient to fill one's own cup, but also an excess that will allow overflow for the benefit of others. In other words, I'm obliged to first take care of my own, fill my own cup, and then continue pouring or earning, as it were, so that I will have sufficient to give away to others. That view of earning to create generosity is one of the 10 key characteristics that have caused Jewish people to prosper. There's a high correlation between generosity and prosperity, and it's not some kind of weird stuff like, send me $100 for this handkerchief crap. That's not what it is. It's just that when you're generous, it changes who you are. Generous people are just more attractive people. They're more likable people. And you tend to want to be around them, and they tend to be trustworthy because they're not greedy, they're generous. Generous people are often content people, so they have a tendency to be prosperous for that reason as well. Because when you're content, you don't need stuff to keep other people happy. When you're content, it changes things, and your generosity factor changes that. The trick is to make sure that your lifestyle, what you spend on you, your cup, is smaller than your income, so that there's overflow to be used for the good of others. Now, in our culture today, in my lifetime, I have seen this disease sweep across this nation where we spend an awful lot of time managing other people's business. And I'm from the hills. We have a saying there. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. You got a full-time dadgum job taking care of you. So the size of my cup, what I spend on my family, is not your problem. You can keep your judging to yourself, because I don't really care what you think anyway. And I don't care what you spend on your family. I hope your family has a nice life. I hope the cup, the lifestyle is really large, but I hope it's smaller than your income, because that is a key to prospering, that your income, your lifestyle is always smaller than your income, so there's overflow to be used for the good of others. I'll never judge you based on whether you bought something nice or not. All I'm going to tell you is you're violating a principle if there's not overflow. There has to be overflow. There has to be generosity, or you're going to struggle, because you're going to start to turn inward. And you ever meet rich people that they get really weird? They get paranoid? This is what happens. It turns inward instead of outward. Most rich people, though, don't do that. Most rich people got rich because of this principle, because it's turned outward. And it's that generosity turning the other direction, and it changes everything for you. Generosity changes everything. And it can be as simple as going to Waffle House. Some of you don't have Waffle House. I feel sorry for you. Not much, but a little. On your way to Grandma's house at Thanksgiving, stop in and have a cup of coffee on Thanksgiving morning, and leave about 3 of these $100 bills under the cup, and go sit in the car and tell the kids, hey, watch. Hey, watch. Because you know who's working in Waffle House on Thanksgiving morning? Somebody needs a job bad. A, they're in Waffle House. B, it's Thanksgiving morning. She'll pick those up, and she'll look like she did something wrong and somebody's going to catch her. Because she hadn't experienced grace in a while. She hadn't experienced prosperity in a while. And then she'll realize that's real, that really just happened. It's Thanksgiving after all. And she'll put them across her heart. And she'll look up. And then you get to see a human do a Snoopy dance. Right? I dare you to have more fun with $300. That's the most fun you'll ever have with $300 in your life. And your kids watch that, and you drive off to grandma's house, thankful. Generous people are thankful people, always. It's a minimum that we get ourselves together so that we can help each other. But it's also a minimum we quit trying to manage everybody else's business. You got a full-time job taking care of you. Maybe we ought to start there. So we've laid out the plan for you. Let me show you what it looks like. I want to introduce you to Jared and Jenny McFerrin. They are from right here in Peoria, Arizona. And so if you haven't seen the radio show or talked or listened to the radio show, we do a thing on the radio show called the Debt-Free Scream, where we hear people's stories of what they've really done, how they've really done it, and how hard it really was, and how worth it really was to live like no one else so that later you can live like no one else. So, how much debt have you two paid off?
So we paid off $180,000 in 24 months.
Wow. That's a lot in 24 months. So I'm thinking there's a story here.
There's a story. Back in 2014, CCV offered financial peace here and
At this church.
and we thought, I guess we'll check it out. I mean, we're doing really good. We probably just, we might learn a few things, but nothing major.
Yeah, you had money under control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to the class, and one of the first things that they have you do is they have you write down all of your debt, not counting your primary mortgage. So when we did that, we were like, oh, so that rental house that we're upside down in and losing money every month, that's a debt.
Oh, yeah.
And oh, those credit cards that we usually pay off every month, those count too. So when we saw that number in front of us, 180,000, it was just like, this is a problem.
You went from we're awesome to we suck in one conversation.
Pretty quick.
Very humbling experience.
So at the end of the class, we started looking at our options for getting rid of the rental house, because we were doing things out of order. And we talked to the bank, and the option that we had was a non-hardship short sale. So we sell the house, and then we sign a note for the difference, because we felt like that's what God would want us to do to honor our commitment. So we started the process, and it was a pretty lengthy process, a lot of paperwork, but they gave us pre-approval, so things were looking really good. And then 3 months into it, they came back and said, you know what? Sorry, denied. You guys can afford to pay it, so you should keep paying it. And there were two things that I still remember. The first was just this anger. I was just so angry. We both were. Like, how could they do this? Like, who do they think they are to say that? But then the second was a lesson that God taught us in that, and that was how the borrower is slave to the lender, just like you said earlier. And I still remember sitting there thinking, that proverb is true. It is so true. And that was a turning point for us.
And that was our gazelle intensity. Didn't
That's
want
when it
anybody
kicked
telling
in,
us
yeah.
how to control our money going any further. So
Right. So we took that moment. We got savings. We got gazelle intense. Took out a loan to combine with our savings to then come up with the difference ourselves so that we could do this the honorable way, sell the house, and then use the debt snowball to pay that down and everything else. And I still remember June 2016, we made that last payment and we became debt-free, and I still have a screenshot on my computer, so.
Love it. Very cool. So you guys went through Financial Peace University here at the church.
We did.
What was the thing you picked up? If somebody had to know one or two or three things to say, how do you get out of debt? What are the main things they need to do to get out of debt?
I'd say being on the same page. Before we went to Financial Peace, he did all the budgeting. And although he was a spender and I'm not really a spender. Just being on the same team so that every dollar has been a saving grace for us, because then now you're on the same team and it's not one person going to you saying, you spent too much, you know, so he always seems like the bad guy. So I think just being on the same page and being each other's cheerleader.
Yep, and holding each other accountable and encouraging each other. It was huge.
So you were doing the budget and the communication then?
Yep.
And that's the big thing that broke it loose for you guys.
It was key, yeah.
And that helped you fight through just this anger and the setback, emotional setback. Because when that bank calls and goes, you can't get out, you feel trapped.
You do. You absolutely do. And I wanted to walk away, but it's like that's not what God would honor.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be standing here if we'd
Not
done
very
that.
good stewards of his money doing it that way.
Right.
So this way we were able to, it helped us in our communication with our marriage as well. So side effect of going through financial peace, help you in your marriage. But working with that and communicating, and now we're on the same plan and we can work together.
So it basically took 2 years to get the rental house sold and then pay off the difference that you had to borrow to get out of it.
Exactly.
And the credit card debt was there. And so the whole thing worked out that way.
And it really was the debt snowball in seeing that, oh, I don't have one huge number. I have a lot of small wins. That was also hugely helpful.
And even if there were times where it was really hard because you feel like you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but just remembering the end goal, that keeping that intensity, that we didn't want to ever have that happen again.
How old are you two?
35.
35.
Wow, I'm so proud of you guys.
Thanks.
And babies, do you win?
January 6th.
And this is number one.
Number one. Will not know
You've
debt.
completely changed your family
Will
tree.
not know debt.
So the tradition is that we count it down and they scream that we're debt free. And what they're doing is, for all of you watching online, they're doing it for you. This is your future they're speaking into. All of you here, they're speaking into your future if you're not already there. And I want you guys to stand, and when they do this, I want you guys to scream at the top of your lungs. Everybody stand up. Stand up. I want you to scream at the top of your lungs when they do this. All right. It's Jared and Jenny McFerrin, Peoria, Arizona. $180,000 paid off in 24 months. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Yeah! Great job, you guys. So here's the point. You can do this. You got this. There's no reason you can't do this. It's yours. You own it. You got this. Thanks for coming tonight, guys. God bless y'all.
All right, folks, there it is. What an ending, a debt-free scream. That's what it looks like when you walk the baby steps out. Thank you so much for being with us. Remember, if you're watching at home or at a host site, you still have time to get FPU, Financial Peace University, and walk it out just like that couple that we ended the night with. On behalf of everyone at Ramsey Solutions, I'm Ken Coleman. Thank you for being with us. Hope to see you again really soon.